Charm.
Oh, good.
All right. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to She's Here from Survival to Sovereignty. This is the podcast for women who are ready to stop just getting through life and start truly living it. And we're your hosts. I'm Cindy Eddington, and this is my beautiful soul sister, Rashni Sharma Fleming. And each episode, we're going to explore what it really means to reclaim your voice, reconnect with your body, and step fully into your personal power. Because the
Thank you, Cindy.
moment a woman comes back to herself, everything, everything begins to shift. So,
Woo!
today, yeah, right? That's so powerful. I love that.
It is.
Um, so today we're gonna be talking about something many women struggle with deeply. And both Rash and I, hands up here, have struggled with this as well. And that is the inability to say no without guilt, right? Not because we don't know what we need, it's because somewhere along the way we learned that being needed was safer than being honest. Or again, there's a lot of childhood programming, right? Of like, this
Yeah.
is the way women are supposed to behave. And so there's so many messages that, we're supposed to serve every need and really we do. We're kind of taught to feel guilty if we say no to ourselves. So
Yes.
I mean, I don't know, Roshni, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, what do you think the audience needs to hear on this?
Well, I think, when women, they think that they're doing and they're programmed to doing more, and then they're earning their rest. That has to shift. You don't earn rest, you
Mm.
deserve rest. Okay? You don't earn rest, you deserve it. And so if you feel guilty about wanting more space, that guilt is a lower vibrational, it is a lower vibrational emotion that will pull you down unless you choose otherwise. And where's the guilt coming from? It's the guilt of, oh, I'm good. Self-care is selfish. You and I have done this work now for a few years.
Mhm.
Self-care is not selfish. You actually, when you pour uh, water onto yourself, water meaning metaphorical water, you feed yourself properly, you nourish your soul, all of these things. It sounds really complex, but it isn't. It sounds sometimes expensive, but it isn't. It could be just drinking more water. This morning I switched out a certain cracker which I loved, but it's not, they're a little bit higher in fat, with a one that I still love, a little lower in fat. Just little shifts here and there, but over time those shifts can compound. So you you must, you deserve rest. That's the main thing. And if you're a woman who thinks you have to earn it, this podcast is for you.
So spot on, so incredibly spot on. I mean, there's so many things that kind of like come into this whole, you know, embracing the no, so to speak. And
Yeah.
I'm just kind of curious, Rashni, what started because like we've kind of been through this process, right? Of again pushing through everything, feeling guilty if we wanted a little space for ourselves. And so I'm just kind of curious, when did saying no first become like really kind of like uncomfortable for you? Like, when did that start for you? I guess maybe what I'm trying to say here is, when you started leaning into that, did it first feel uncomfortable? And what did you do to kind of like overcome that uncomfortableness? Because again, I think we're all kind of like trained, if you will, that we're not supposed to do that, and if we do, we really do feel guilty about it. So I'm just kind of curious, what was your experience with that when you really started first stepping into that and maybe feeling some of that uncomfortableness?
Yeah. So this is, I even before we started podcasting together, this, my ability to say no was rapidly developed when my son was born because I had to protect him, not from anything major or violent or anything like that, but I had to protect him because he chose me. His soul chose mine as a mother. And I know him. We've known each other since in utero and perhaps even beyond. People also feel like that connection is almost destined. So that being set aside, the idea of saying no when someone was pressuring me to give him an iPad when he was 2, the stuff like that, I was like, no, I don't want to do that because being an educator, I knew that putting that tech in front of him so young would alter his brain chemistry. And that's scientifically proven. And so that was the first thing. And when I embraced it, it was quiet because I didn't want to hurt feelings. And what happened is that I had to learn that their response to my no had nothing to do with me.
Mm.
It doesn't happen, it has nothing to do with you. It's to do with what they believe or what they perceive you should be doing in their story at that time.
Mm. Yeah, the big shoulds. I mean,
Big
that word is such a judgy word, isn't it? I mean, I talk about this all the time with my clients. It's the big pile of shoulds, and then you're sitting in this big pile. You got to stop shooting on yourself basically as well, because then we should on ourselves.
Yeah,
They're saying it, oh my God, then I should do this, but it's such a judgy word, and
so
we can
judgy.
extract that out of our language completely, that it creates such a big shift inside of us. So I'm
Yes.
just kind of curious, speaking on that then, what changed when you finally started saying no? How did what opened up for you when you did that?
That I built a muscle to understand how I was feeling. So what built around me was self-awareness. And when an emotion of guilt came up or anxiety or like, oh, someone's going to yell at me or whatever, that's very old. And I had to drop that very, very subtly. It's like very subtle. And then as I built my muscle, it was very easy for me to say, no, I'm not doing that. Not today. Or not ever, depending on whatever the context was. And so you really have to understand and watch the emotions that come out of a no situation. What's happening inside of you? And you know what, Cindy, you and I both know it boils down to women's worth. It's are you worthy? Are you worthy of negative emotions? Are you worthy of positive experiences and emotions? They both can coexist, but you don't have to reside inside the negativity.
Yeah.
And this was a big thing for me, stepping into it subtly, and then it just kind of avalanche, not even snowball. It was an avalanche of like, nope, nope, nope. And it was a muscle that I had to develop. Some people develop it very soon and sooner in life because of perhaps they have to protect themselves physically
Mm-hmm.
or
Yes.
mentally or emotionally. But some of us learn a little later, depending on what our programming has been.
Mm-hmm.
And what about you? Like, how is this shifted for you when you started to say no? Because our
Oh,
backgrounds are so different, but they're similar because the programming was
exactly.
very same.
At first it was very difficult.
Yeah.
It was really difficult to say no because for me in my family, I was like the people pleaser, the harmonizer, making everybody happy. And
Yeah.
so, saying no, it was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Or when I first started to learn to say no, I would have to come up with a big explanation, right? I
Mhm.
felt I had to explain it all, as to why. But what I found is when I did that, then, people would try to pick apart my explanations to try to get me then to do what they wanted me to do.
Ooh,
And so I thought that was really, really interesting. I was like, wow, I had to go through this whole learning curve of recognizing no is the complete sentence. It's no period. I don't need to explain anything. I don't need to go into this big elaborate story of why, I can't go and do something or whatever. And that was huge for me. To recognize I don't have to do that, but it took some practice, right? Because initially it was like, I don't
Practice.
know how to do this. I really didn't know how. Like, I don't know how to do this, but the more that I did that, it became this just an incredible freedom to just say no without an explanation. Like I don't have to justify why my no is a no. It really is just a complete sentence. So somebody invited me to a party and I was like, you know what? I'm just tired. It's not that, I mean, I could go, right? Or somebody would say, you should go. And I was like, I don't really want to go. I just don't want to. I just
Exactly.
don't want to. I'm exhausted. At the time when I was first learning this, like I'm a single mom, right? And I've got so many things on my plate. It was crazy. Talk about spinning multiple plates. I was like, you know what? I just don't want to. But and I didn't want to hurt feelings. So again, it's like I don't want to tell them I don't want to come. I just want to rest. I I didn't want to do that, but at the same time, I wanted to honor where I was at. So when I just said, no, not this time, but next time. Thanks for inviting me. I can't do it this time. I'm not going to be able to make it this time, but next time. So I didn't have to go into this whole like feeling like I'm going to hurt their feelings because I think that's where I got caught up. And I think that's where a lot of clients and women that I work with get caught up too, right? It's their fear of I'm going to disappoint somebody.
Fear. Fear. Yes.
Yeah.
Fear is a big, big component because we are taught that if we entertain the fear with over explaining and overthinking, and if we entertain that fear that it'll make things better, but it doesn't, because you are teaching people that it's okay for them to treat you in the way they're treating you. And they may not even know, they might be completely innocent. Cindy, come to my party.
Yeah.
It could be just completely innocent as well. Sometimes it's not very much. I've experienced that as well, where you say no, and then a whole big explanation from the other person, forcing me to actually do something with them and collaborate with them. And I was like, I don't work like that. I don't work like that. And
I
the
think it
main
takes
thing
a
is
lot
that
of work.
it takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
And then you are left with this like emotional residual inside your body that might repeat itself. So you get into this almost even patterned thinking, right? Which can be repatterned. You and I both work with women. It
Yeah.
can be repatterned, but in the moment, it's like, oh no, here it comes again, you know?
Well, and it's perfect that you're saying the pattern because that's really what it comes down to, too, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's taking that step back to say, okay, what is my pattern? And again, tuning into the body, it's all about awareness, but we can talk these things too, but people that have never experienced it, it's really it is going to be this process, right? And it is a practice.
Absolutely.
And if you uh kind of get caught up into the quagmire of it going, oh, I tried it and and then I did feel this awkwardness and the fear all percolated up. I'm just going to say be patient with yourself, because it
Yes.
really takes some time. So again, it's all the P's. I always say it's a process, right? It takes a lot of practice and it takes a lot of patience with ourselves and say if something happened like, oh my God, I did it again, don't beat yourself up for it because you're learning a new muscle. You really, as you just appropriately had said earlier, Rashni, it's really kind of working into some muscle memory here and feeling into your body. Like, what is it saying? What is it telling you?
Right.
And really leaning into what you said even earlier. It's resting when you need to rest too. The story that I just told is all about, it's like I was exhausted. But sometimes we keep pushing through anyway, right? It's like, oh, I got to do it. I have to do all of these things. I've got a to-do list that's like never ending, but I've got to get them all done. Or if I don't, what does that say about me?
And you no, you're spot on with a lot of the of your points. And the one thing that women need to remember is if you keep overriding your body, it will retaliate in big and small ways.
Mhm.
And if you say no and an emotion comes up, I feel a lot of it up in my throat chakra and in
Oh,
my
yeah.
heart chakra and in my solar plexus, right? Those three main components.
Yeah.
And if I don't bring awareness back to that, this is what unbalances chakras too, which is the emotions that are processing over and over again, that are overriding how you're feeling. And then this is where the exhaustion comes in. And we talk about how the body is wise. So if you're exhausted, that's your body saying, you got to rest. If you have a cold, that's your body saying, I need some support here. Help
Mhm.
me out. And I think the more a muscle, any muscle that physical too, the more you use it, the more it is capable of protecting the body that you've been given in this lifetime, right?
Mhm.
And that's a woman's great purpose, is to look after her body as best as she can and resource herself so that she's not um, uh, ignoring what her body is saying,
Yeah.
right?
I think that I mean, that's really kind of working into the shift because, part of the truth of it is, right, is that most often women are praised for abandoning themselves, right? So that's a big component here that we're talking about.
Ooh.
The permission, so that's the other P, giving ourselves permission to stop over functioning, right? Because we can get into this whole trap of do more, be more, do more, be more. And it's that constant striving, never arriving kind of like pattern cycle. And so, it's that whole, we need to give ourselves permission to that over functioning, that striving yet never arriving, because we really get trapped into that cycle. So I love what you're saying because literally it's the shift. I mean, we look at all this, right? It's getting into that whole survival mode, and we're kind of again going back to the beginning, trained for this, right? There's a lot of things that happen for women that kind of like keep us in that pattern of that over functioning. But I love what you're saying because when we start moving into the shift of this, right, is that your body is trying to tell you something, as you just said, it's trying to protect you. So it's really listening and tuning into that because, to me, we could talk about boundaries here. I mean, it's shifting into it. To me, the whole shift was, saying no is not a rejection. It's not. It's literally
Yes.
a boundary that we're setting for ourselves. And what that does, as you were saying before, that steps into now our self-respect and our self-worth, right? So these are all, when we start saying no, this is the way we start building those bridges back to ourselves.
Ooh. And if you're triggering someone by you saying no, that's on them, right? Because
Yes.
no is not I think we have to figure out why we've attached negativity to no. Why have we attached negativity to it? Like it's not a component of, we're allowed to say no. And for whatever reason, maybe in our past life or in programming or anything like that, we've attached this, oh, well, she can't say no. And this trickles into many different, like sexual consent, where we can talk about that, talks about workplace no. We're going to be talking about that as well. So it becomes it's like, why have we attached negativity to no? And why does it rest on women? No.
Yeah. Again, it goes back to again women are the natural givers, and the extreme is we get into this overgiving then, depending again on family situation, culture, society. There's so many messages that have been programmed into women of what we are supposed to look like, how we are supposed to behave. So all of that impacts us. So I think part of this whole podcast that we're trying to do here is open up some of these questions for women that are like it's just if you're just stepping into this, if you're watching this and you're just trying to step into like what does saying no like look like, feel like, and if you can resonate with some of these patterns, again, starting the shifting is just recognizing, right, that sometimes we need to put up these boundaries and it's not being selfish, in the negative sense. That's a big word too, where people are like, oh, you're being so selfish. No, really, it's back to self-respect. It's really just taking care of myself because the more that I can take care of myself, the more that I actually then do have to give to others. But if I'm not feeling my own well, forget about it. All that ends up happening is you build up all kinds of anger, resentment, right? Because, well, why does everybody else get to do what they want to do, but I can't? I mean, I know I've had these feelings, right? And again, it just chips away, I think, at your self-esteem, which impacts, as you're just saying, there's so many other no's that we're going to talk about in terms of, sexual consent, no in the workplace, some other things that we'll do, some other podcasts on, but really just leaning into the basics of embracing no from the sheer point of survival mode and exhaustion is kind of what we've tapped into today. But these are the things
Absolutely.
that you can start shifting.
Yes.
Start shifting it at looking at the body, really tuning into the body.
Yes, absolutely. And you have to even get super curious about where you are at, and you can ask yourself questions. Ask the body the question, am I forcing you here? Do you feel forced? The body will tell you, do you feel forced?
Yeah,
And it will respond quietly, maybe. It might respond with peace. It might respond with exhaustion. Who knows? But you can create questions around yourself so that you can either write about it, which I love. I'm a big, big believer in writing and just taking it all off your nervous system at the end of the day. Just take it all off. Whatever's going on, just take it
absolutely.
all the way down. Break it down, break it down, break it down. It doesn't matter if it's messy, but you know that it's on a piece of paper. And when it's on a piece of paper, it's very, very powerful. Yes, you can even type it out, no problem. But when you put a pen to paper, there's a connection, and there is a body, heart, and mind connection.
I love that. I love that. So, I do a lot of mind body work here. So, what if we offer right now for those who are watching an actual nervous system
Sure.
reset? Just a little practice here. Just take a couple
Yes.
of minutes. What do you think?
Yes, I love that. You want to lead us through
Yeah, let me lead.
some?
I'm gonna ask everybody if you're watching this. All right, now if you're in a car and you're watching or you're hearing this,
Don't do it when you're
don't do it in
driving.
the car. Just let me put that proviso out there before I go any further. Make sure you're in a safe place to do this.
Yeah.
But this is a practice that you can do it. It just takes a couple of minutes. And what I'm going to ask you to do then is find a comfortable seat wherever you're seated, and then feel your feet flat on the ground. And if your legs are crossed, I'm going to ask you to uncross them. And just feel your feet on the ground. Maybe just feel that big toe all the way across the little toe. Right? And then feel the balls of your feet a little bit, and then sink in, feel your heels. And now feel the outside edges of each foot. And then go to the inside edges. And then let's find that Goldilocks zone. So kind of feel all 4 points of each foot now. And then lean back into your chair so that you feel your back being supported. And just know I've got your back too. And now close your eyes and let's place one hand on our heart and one on the belly. Okay. And then when you're ready, I'm going to have you inhale through your nose nice and slow for a 4 count. So let's do that. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then exhale. And you can blow this out through your mouth slowly for a 6 count. Here we go. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do that again. Inhale slowly through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 6 count through the mouth. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And one more time. Inhale slowly through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just settle in and notice. Feel into your body. And now ask yourself this question. What do I need right now? And just notice, no judgment, just notice what comes up for you. And if it says, I need more rest, take it. If it says you need to say no to whatever is coming in your way in your field today, something that you just don't feel aligned with, say no. All right, let's release. When you're ready, you can wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes a little bit. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and just see how that sets with you. That's a really quick nervous system reset because, again, when we're in survival mode, we're in fight or flight. Right?
Yes.
And every nerve is on edge. And it may not feel stress, right? Because if we're an overdoer and pushing through all the time, this is a really good way to give yourself that moment. Look at it. Didn't even take us 3 minutes, did it?
Didn't even take us 3 minutes. And this is that practice, Cindy, is sustainable. It's free. It can be taken anywhere where you're going. It can be done anywhere where you are. Not caring about what other people think. Do it anywhere you want to be. I did it in front of a tree and somebody thought that I was like escaped from an asylum or something. I'm like, I'm breathing. And oh, okay, he said. But I did it in front of a tree.
Yeah.
But judgments aside, if that's what you think that I look like, then that's on you, not me. You know, and it's such a beautiful practice and way to bring love back to yourself. And you and I, of course, this is why we do the work we do, self-care and self-love practices
Absolutely.
all day, every day, until we feel good and until we feel replenished and nourished. And you can repeat as necessary.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I appreciate everything that we spoke of today, Cindy, and thank you for hosting with me here on She's Here. Our next episode is really, really interesting, and that is when you don't know who you are anymore. So you reach a point, perhaps you hit an actual wall or a proverbial or a metaphorical wall, and you stop and say, what am I doing? And the women go through that. If women are going through death of a spouse, that also comes up. So stay tuned for our next episode when you don't know who you are. And thank you to all of our listeners who are tuning in. Thank you for your support, your like, your subscribe, and follow. And we look forward to sharing our next episode of She's Here with you very soon. Stay tuned.
Thanks, everyone. See you soon.
Thanks, Cindy.